Hey CJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Can you kind of talk about this process and how maybe this process was different this year than it was last year for you with everything going on right now?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on just in the world in general, outside of the basketball. Um, and it's obviously just a crazy time. That's really the main difference for me. The year didn't end exactly like regularly. It's just kind of a lot of things are being thrown at me, or just everybody really, and we're not really used to it. And so I think everybody's just been adapting to the new way we're all living at the moment. And but that's just the biggest difference for me is not being at school right now.
Do you know what type of contact you'll be able to have with NBA teams? Obviously, you probably won't be able to work out with them now, but will you still be able to kind of send them workouts and have phone conversations or FaceTime conversations?
So I think the way they're doing it is you can't, not yet, not until the early entry draft list comes out. And once that happens, teams can do Zoom calls like this. They can you can exchange workout stuff, and then obviously, if teams want to reach out to me, they can. But once the early entry list comes out, then teams can start communicating to the players that are eligible in the draft.
Alyssa, you got some questions?
Yeah, just figuring out how to unmute. Sorry. CJ, hope everything's going well for you. How tough is it to, obviously you did this last year, but this is very different. Are you having any nerves or kind of stress, anxiety about just this being different for you with not being able to meet or talk with teams or do workouts until you know?
I'm kind of embracing it just because I get to be home with my family, and I really haven't been home this an extended amount of time like this in a 2 years or so since I left for college. So I'm just enjoying this time with my family right now, and trying to stay safe, stay inside. And as far as workouts and stuff, I kind of it's kind of good because I have a gym I have access to, and I have a pretty regular routine, and I get my workouts in every day. And so I've kind of just been enjoying it and trying to take it, as it is, and just look at the positives. I get to be close with my family. So.
And this time around, are you looking to learn anything new? Or are you kind of taking what you learned last year into this? Like, is there anything that kind of sticks out in your mind that you want to take into this year?
Really, I'm just looking for that team, to take a chance on me and to believe in my abilities and see some potential in me. But that's the main thing is just, seeing who has interest and seeing if I can slip into that draft.
Cool. That's all I have.
Brady?
Hey CJ, congratulations. Have you talked to or reached out for advice from anybody making this decision?
I've talked with plenty of people, and everybody obviously, has their own opinion and has their own thoughts about what I should do. I'm kind of just taking what everybody says and, hearing where they're coming from and their perspective and trying to shape my own opinion and what I feel is best for, my future. But I've pretty much been taking it slowly. I've been trying to, meet the date requirements, and haven't really been rushing anything. I'm trying to just, stay as calm and level-headed as I can in this time. But right now, the only thing that I can do is, prepare myself as best I can. And so that's what I've been doing, and that's all I can control at the moment.
Anybody specific you might be talking with about this?
Nobody specific. My parents, my trainer out here. And so, no, nobody specific, just pretty much people in my inner circle.
Sure. And so with this draft coming up, are you leaning on just NBA or bust, or are you planning on going overseas if it didn't work out, or what's the plan, I guess?
Plan for this year?
Yeah.
Well, I definitely wouldn't be going overseas. I'm entering the draft to be drafted by an NBA team, and I feel like I've had a lot of growth in this year. And so we'll see what the team's feedback is from this past year, see what they have to say, see how they feel about me. see if anybody, is willing to take that chance with me. And so I think that's just the biggest thing is kind of just seeing what happens as the time goes on, and obviously teams aren't able to contact draft eligible players right now. So I really, don't know exactly what the case is yet.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Capcom. How about Chris? Chris Francis, go ahead. Yep.
Hey, CJ, how are you, man? So I have a couple of questions. I'm just curious if you could describe the leap your game made in this past year, just in general. Obviously, your points per game went up, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'm going to ask you about Seattle basketball. But if you want to talk about your game and the leap you made in terms of knowing you're confident in this decision.
I think the first year of growth, I'd say, is just my mentality and my approach. Coach Smith helped me a lot to realize, the less is kind of more sometimes. And so just a lot of times throughout this year, he's kind of sat me down and helped me realize that there's some things that I need to focus on that to help the team. And so I think some of that was just my practices. That was one of the biggest improvements I made is, sometimes I can, if we have a game the next day, I can kind of come into practice with a relaxed approach and kind of, with the mindset of resting my body. But, one thing I realized was you got to bring it every day, and then that makes my team better, and so it's most of the time it's bigger than me. And sometimes I can get caught up with, how I feel, how my body feels. But I learned from Coach Smith, that there's really no days off in this, in the NCAA, because if you want to be good, you just can't.
All right, and the next one, Malachi also declaring, and JD McDaniels. I'm just curious. I mean, we've all known about Seattle basketball for years, but you're kind of in the middle of it right now in this last few months. Just curious what your thoughts are on it, and to have it all happen to you guys at the same time here.
Well, it's not just Seattle. They're Federal Way, Tacoma. And so I just say just the Northwest in general has a lot of hidden gems and a lot of players that have a lot of potential and are really good. And I think it's just started when we were all young. We've been playing against each other. We've been playing against the same groups of kids, the same teams for, a long time. We've been on same AAU team. Me and James both played for Rotary. I played with Malachi. I remember first time I met him was at the Tony Roan camp at Garfield High School. And so it's just, a small basketball community up here, and we're all connected. And, it's very fun and exciting at this time.
Excellent, man. Good luck to you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Dan? How about Jeremy?
Hey, it's actually Joe, but I'm on Jeremy's iPad. This is Joe at SWX, and just a couple questions for you, CJ. First, just can you walk me through the thought process? What was going on in your head when you ultimately decided to declare for the NBA draft?
Well, mainly, I just felt like I have nothing to lose, from declaring into the draft. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on around the world, but I feel like soon enough business will go on as usual. And so my main thoughts has just been trying to use this time to see what I can do, see if maybe it's my time to come out, just depending on how the teams feel about me.
You scored 30 points in your last game back in early March before the Pac-12 tournament got canceled. You guys won. First time winning a Pac-12 tournament game since 2009. That could possibly be your last game in crimson and, gray uniform. Just looking back, are you pleased with the way that your career potentially ended at WSU?
You know what? That was a very exciting game. It was very fun. And it felt like a dream, because we were playing very well. We had a slow start, but besides that, the game just felt like it was kind of moving in our favor. And I think it was because we all had the mindset of that we were going to leave it all on the court. And no regrets really going out there. And so our coach was telling us the stats about how, we never won since it became the Pac-12. And I think we were just all fired up and motivated to get it done, not just for ourselves, but for the Cougs in general.
Yeah, it's too bad we'll never know exactly how that thing ended. Last question from me, CJ, is are you home? Are you spending more time with family? What does quarantine look like for you? And are you enjoying maybe extra time with your family?
Yeah, I definitely am. It's been good to be back home and be around them, their love, and just because I've been in college for the last 2 years, I've probably not had more than a couple weeks at home at a time. 2 weeks or so, and so it's just been good. I've been back for about a month and a half, and it's just kind of helps me slow things down right now. Last year at this time when I was declaring, I was in Pullman, and it was kind of tough for me just because I felt like I wasn't really able to do what I needed to do to prepare for the draft. But this year, being in Seattle, having access to my trainer, Cartier, and just being close with family and back in a familiar setting, I can really do what I need to do to get ready.
That's great. Thanks, CJ. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Karthik.
Hey, yeah, CJ, how's it going? The question I have, and I feel like a lot of Cougs fans might be asking, what's the determining factor of whether you'll end up coming back to WSU or whether you're going to stay in the draft?
So I'm looking for a team that basically, is telling me that they're going to pick me. I want a guaranteed contract. That's pretty much it. I mean, if it depends on the level of teams that are number of teams that are interested in me. So based on the eval that I get back and just word from the teams, just all depends on stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Would you consider, if you're graded a second round by many of the teams, would that make you lean closer to coming back to WSU to try and see if you get yourself into the first round the following year?
It all depends on what it is that they might be offering. What it looks like just from hearing from the teams. And I really can't tell you exactly what's gonna make me stay in the draft. But just depending on what I hear. Obviously, there's no final decisions made as of now, so either way is still a possibility.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else have anything that didn't get covered that they want to ask?
Yeah, I had one more for you, CJ. I was just wondering what do you think the Cougars would kind of look like next year if you did come back, and what do you think would be the goal for you guys next year if you came back and you guys returned kind of the same core guys and obviously the four guys you guys signed?
So what would it look like if I did come back?
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind we'd be a very good team. We'd have a year under our belt with a lot of returners coming back. We'd be losing two, seniors who contributed a lot this season. But I feel like we fill those spots in very well, and I think that just under Coach Smith's guidance and leadership, we'd be a really good team.
And where are you training right now? And what's the name of your trainer back there in Seattle?
I've been training with Cartier French Tony for some years now. Yeah.
CJ, this is Alyssa Charleston. I just had one more kind of clarification. So in terms, you said that early draft list, have you really communicated with any NBA teams, or what is kind of the status of your communication with NBA teams right now?
So right now, teams cannot talk to draft eligible players until that early entry list gets released. So basically, I'm not able to. Obviously, I haven't signed with an agent, and so I have been contacted by a few, and I'm in conversation with a few. But other than that, I really haven't heard from many teams because it's not, time to communicate with them yet.
Okay, and how have you been hearing about just not being able to work out, stuff like that? How have you been receiving that communication and that information?
So basically, it's kind of been updates coming just as time's been going on. Obviously, the NBA hasn't even figured out what exactly they're going to do yet. And so updates really just been coming in, and I've just been kind of hearing as time has gone on.
Got it. Thank you.
Anything else, or are we good?
Last thing for me, Joe again with SWX, just to clarify, are you considering having an agent, or is that not the plan?
So I'm definitely considering having an agent, just not at this time. You know, I plan on making sure that I have both options of keeping my name in the draft or going back to school. And so, just with that being said, I won't be able to sign with an agent to keep I can sign with the NCAA certified agent, but it just depends. I don't plan on signing with the agent anytime soon.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thank you all. Thanks, CJ.
Yep. Thank you guys.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you, CJ. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.